good flow. Go ahead.
Okay. So for me, I'm thinking like a speaker, like I'm on a stage, like I'm relating to people or how I communicate with people in my everyday life. But Dash was like, no, tap into the emotion of it, the feel of it. So I was like, now I'm looking at it more of from an acting standpoint and playing a role versus just always just being me, because I am being me, but I'm being more expressive and people feel that, you know? So that's what we really tapped into. And he's told me this, I don't know how many times, but today we just took the time to dissect how I kept going into things.
What do you mean?
Like he said, say, I'm not arguing with you. And I was like, I'm not arguing with you. I'd rather, rise above and soar. He was like, you can argue with somebody. You about to argue with somebody. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And I'm not arguing with you. You see what I'm saying? And then the time and the tone, because he pauses a lot. Like there's a time to speak, but there's a time to allow space for reaction. And he's a master at that. So rather than saying, I'm not arguing with you, you could say, I'm not arguing with you. And you see the feel. So just the different feel and delivery of the words to create, connect, emotion, and express. I needed that because I can be
Just hear me.
Let's chill. That's my vibe. Like that's my vibe. That's the vibe I want to be on, But life is full of emotions. Life is full of feelings, from excitement to everything else. And sometimes you got to turn up.
So you're saying that when you talk, you want people to actually not just hear the words, but actually feel you and feel the energy behind it.
Yeah. So I went from less chill to all the way turned up.
I love that. I love it.
Yeah.
I love that.
You know what I'm saying? Energies need energy.
Yeah, they
You know what I'm
do.
saying? So it's like,
Okay, we got
exist,
you.
be, give.
Okay.
Like, show up. So
Let's just dive in.
I do want to say this. I am still learning how to do that. I was like mute and hidden and suppressed for a lot of my life. So I am just learning over the last couple of years that it's okay to speak.
Really? Well, you do it so well. That's
you.
phenomenal. Because I would have never known that.
Yeah, I would not. And, Dash is a big part of that too, because I don't think I've ever, before I connected with him, I had never gone live. I had never done anything like that. And he used to say all the time, like just share what you know, right? We think like everyone already knows. They've heard it some place before, but that's not always true.
Right.
And you never know who that message is going to reach.
Right.
Right? And there was one particular time that's really interesting that I had posted something the year prior. I think it was on TikTok. And I decided a year later to post something similar. But I just felt like it was bursting out of me, like I needed to share. It was like a 45-second video. And I could hear Dash in the back of my head just saying, just share what you know. You never know who's going to see it.
Right.
And that one video, I would say in maybe the span of a month and a half, had over 1 million views.
I love that.
And I was just like, it works.
You were in tune. You were aligned.
I was aligned.
And that was
aligned.
meant. That message was meant to get out. So what would you say to like a young woman that has not yet found her voice or doesn't feel, I don't know what you felt in, your quietness and being more concealed, but how would you encourage a young lady to find her voice and speak up?
I would say it's always helpful to find your joy. Find your joy. Find where that vibration of joy, where that passion is for you, because it's going to be something that is going to want to just burst. It's just going to want to spill out, right? When I posted that video, I had no expectations. I wasn't checking to see who liked it. I was like, this is something that I think is important, that could help people. Somebody's going to use it. Someone's going to need it. And I let it go, you know? So, but that is because I am so rooted in this healing work, right? I don't care if it just touches one person.
Yeah.
Right? So I would say really finding where that vibration, that frequency of joy and passion lies for you. You're not gonna care what comes out of it, right? You know that you're kind of just doing the work and being the messenger and just sharing what you're here to share. So
That's beautiful. So what brings you joy?
Oh, what brings me joy? Being in purpose. Getting a chance to wake up and do something every day that I love to do is one of my greatest sources of joy, along with my babies, my 2 kids.
I love that.
Yeah, they inspire me. They kind of remind me of what I was like as a child before the world got a hold of me.
Yeah.
And so one of my missions is to kind of not protect them from that, because I can't, but to foster their free spirits and to show them that the only limitations are the ones they put on themselves. And I want them to, I really want to help nurture them in a way that helps them bring their greatness out.
Yeah.
Because I see it. I see signs of it already in them. You know, so those are my 2 little joys too.
I love that. I love that. And you do so much. You know, I know snippets of who you are and what you can do and what you're into, you know, just from online and speaking with you. But can you put in like a ball of words like what it is you're all about? You know, I hear about I'm hearing you talk about Reiki and different things, and you care and you have this healing heart. You know, that's what I see when I see you. You have this big healing heart. But who is Dana?
Oh man. I am a truth seeker. I am a person who believes that there is more to this life than what we see. And I try to push the boundaries of that a little bit. And I think that that's why what I do is so different and, you know, in some ways very polarizing, because I learned that sometimes in order for you to manifest the impossible, right? And just create opportunities for yourself, that sometimes you have to suspend your disbelief a little bit, right? Sometimes you have to not only not focus on what's in front of you, but believe that there's something bigger and better that you can't write yourself, and master the art of allowing. So in all of that, I think over the last couple of years, my journey has taken me to all these different modalities, right? I'm kind of somebody who will try anything once, right? And what I try, I share. And if it's worked for me, I will learn it and then I will share it. You know, I love to teach. I love to help people. One of the things that I think I'm really good at is translating people's feelings, thoughts, and emotions back to them. I feel like I do that very well because I spend so much time doing it for myself.
Right.
And one of the best things I experience is when someone tells me something and then I tell them, this is what I heard, and they're like, yes, you know? And then I have tools to help them through it.
So tell me about these tools.
Oh man, okay. So it all started, so I've always been connected to the cosmos. Even as a kid, I would love to just stare up at the moon. I've always loved the moon as a kid. And so, in my early 20s, I, would read horoscopes and things like that. And my entryway into this was kind of astrology. And it happened that I had gotten a reading and the woman said, you're kind of meant to be seen and heard in this lifetime. And I'm like, that can't be because I don't like talking, right? Right. But I said, if she's right, I should be able to see this in my birth chart. And when I went and I looked, it was there in my house of career. I have Gemini, which is literally the sign of communication and teaching and speaking.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, well, that's a problem because I don't like to talk. So I had to understand what the barriers were and kind of heal those. And a lot of that was, being told that I was too sensitive. A lot of it was people not understanding me, and even me on a, being insecure sometimes and really looking for that approval and validation. And I had to learn that you're not always going to get it, that sometimes there are people just committed to misunderstanding you, and that somebody is going to resonate with your song.
That's right.
Somebody is. So once I learned to do that, it was easy from there.
Nice. So they say your vibe is your tribe.
Yes.
And you definitely have a vibe. You definitely
sis.
have a vibe.
Thank
I
you.
told Dash when I was coming here, I was like, I gotta meet her. I feel like she's a soul sister.
Yes. Yes.
And it's crazy because, we have all of this technology, the social media, the cell phones, but you can feel that. And you don't feel that all the time and with everybody. But some people just have just such a beautiful vibration about them. It's a song by a gentleman by the name of Soulja Boy. He says, "Kiss me through the phone," but you can actually even feel. You can feel through the phone. You see what I'm saying?
You can, because
And
energy is universal.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, that's
There's
how
no
I
boundaries or limits to it, and I feel the same way about you. So when Dash told me, I was like, "Oh my God, she's coming!"
Look, so I'm looking forward to just growing with you, and I'm grateful to be here with you. It's been just pleasant to get to know you. So, if you had limitless resources, and I said, do that which you love to do, and every year your salary will be $50 million. You work 40 weeks out of the year, Monday through Friday, 7 to 3. What would you do?
Oh, it's easy. I think one of my dreams is to open a wellness center. One of the things that I really want to do in this lifetime is build community, a big community. And I love to, talk to and engage with people online, but I also nothing compares to being in person.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
So I am often inspired by a lot of the things that you and Lydia Joy do. And I want to know, how did you get into, because did you say that you grew up in church? So how did you go from that to, really leaning into spirituality? I love to see you guys with meditation and a sound bath. So a lot of people think it has to be either or.
Yeah, for me, it's all inclusive. I grew up heavily influenced, by the church, father, generations, ministry, all of that. Even myself, I went to Bible college, MTI, Ministry Training Institute. I was a youth pastor for years. But there was always, from a small child, a desire for knowledge inside of me. I'm never there and I'm never done. I love to learn. You know, I love books. I love being around people that could teach me something. You know, I've never gotten to the point where I know it all.
Right.
Because you're never going to know it all. I know enough to know I don't know enough. And when I was about 13, it's the first time I read the Bible all the way through. And the Jesus that some of the women, and I was more so influenced by women because I am a woman. You know, I watch women like my mother, my granny, and that's a small group. But I watched other women in the church community. They would shame me just for being me, you know. And being a PK, you get a lot of flack. Like anything you do, people are going to notice. Coming from California, nobody really wore a lot of clothes. It was really hot. We lived in the desert. We swam every day. So everybody's in swimwear, you know. Moving to Ohio is, you know, this girl doesn't have a slip on. I'm 10 years old, you know. Like it was, you know, and just different things like being young and wanting to experiment with mascara and just having women tell me things like, you know, that's not a godly woman, you don't this and that. And it was just like, why are they trying to shame me or make me ashamed of my body? Or, you know, just even the names you would hear when you're petite. You skinny, you this, you this, you that. And you're looking at them and like, if I called you what you are, I'm not allowed to say. And so I didn't understand why at such a young age there were women, my mom's age and older, and just a few of them, not everybody, but just a few of them. I really honestly, hindsight being 2020, felt like they were just on assignment to destroy a part of my confidence. And I began to, my father was very adamant, you know, Jesus is this, this and that. He had this experience that he had when he was 26 that he had in the living room. He said he felt the power of God. And I never experienced anything like that, you know. And he felt forgiven for so much. And it changed the trajectory of his life. But I had never experienced that. And so he would try to protect me from experiences that, you know, I don't have a problem with drugs. I don't have a problem with this. I don't desire to drink. Like, it's just never been a real desire there for certain things for me that a lot of people would condemn bad or sinful or shameful. And so I spent a lot of time, you know, in my room, and I began to read the Bible. And when I read the Bible, I saw things, but I didn't see it the same way other people saw it. Like, you talk about studying the stars. Biblically, they studied the stars. You had to map the stars to know what time it was. Feast, the moons all fell on feast. We celebrate Easter, but Passover feast, all of these things are, and I began to correlate a lot just at a very young age, and I got curious because I'm like, I know them, they're Muslim. I know them, they're Jehovah's Witness. I know them, they're Buddhist. And I'm like, how do I know that this Jesus is the way, truth, and the life if this is all I know? And I'm like, I'm sure if I grew up in China, you guys, I probably would be raised that way. So I had all of these questions, and when I asked people questions, it would almost be like, why are you asking? Just believe what I say. And not more so my father, because he would journey through the Bible with me, but I'm like, the Bible, best-selling book of all time, maybe the greatest book ever written. But I'm like, there are other books. And the Tao Te Ching, I just wanted more and more. And I would listen to a gentleman, Wayne Dyer, he would have PBS specials. So I started to rent these books from the library, and I got in trouble. And that made me even more curious.
It usually does.
And I was more curious. So I began to talk to Muslim friends and things like that, and just ask them about their self and their faith and what they believe, because what I was seeing, especially in the Black church and community, was a hypocritical, I look down on you, I'm better than you. If I go to church every Sunday, God loves me more than you. If I do this, if my skirt is longer, you're this. And then the Bible, I never read that.
Anywhere.
It doesn't exist.
Anywhere.
And so And then it's like we're to look, love. If you're going to look, love, and live like Jesus, I wanted to see that in representation, not just in my family. I wanted to see it across the board. I'm like, if this is all, and I just got so curious. But biblically, okay, when the king was disrupted, they brought the psalmist, they brought David, they brought the harps and the strings and the timbrel and all of these sounds. And even in the beginning, how the Bible will say, God said, and there was. Right? And in the void, and it speaks, there's so many scriptures on sound. And I saw things that I feel like people weren't seeing, or how people would condemn crystals. And I'm like, the priest wore these crystals. I'm not saying that they're magical, but they have a mineral content which make them a certain color. And if God made that, why is it bad? Or if, sage can just purify your body by drinking the tea, or purify the air. It doesn't even have to be spiritual. This is practical knowledge that we're ignoring out of fear and out of being taught not to grasp onto certain things and get yours in the by and not live your best self now. And as a young girl, I knew a lot of this, but if I spoke it, I would be condemned. I would be in youth class. I got kicked out of youth class so much when we moved to Ohio, because it's like, you're my teacher. You haven't studied anything. You're giving me a scripture to remember. But have you ever studied this scripture in its original language? Like, do you really know what these words mean? So I would be kind of like a show off, and I would get kicked out. And I was glad to get kicked out, because I wanted to go hear my dad speak over you anyway, because he's an avid studier, so he's going to take me somewhere deep.
Right.
Whereas this is so surface, you know, and I was like, I want more.
Yeah.
And so I've always been a stickler for knowledge, but sound, vibration, frequency. My grandmother, my great-grandmother, my dad's grandmother, she passed when she was 93. And I can remember asking her, like, why do you wash the walls? Why do we have to wash walls on Saturday morning? Why do we wake up and wash walls? And I thought it was to keep the house clean, an aesthetic thing, to save the wallpaper or whatever. I didn't know. Preserve the paint. But she began to share with me, and she and I didn't have the best relationship. We kind of butt heads a little bit, in a sense where she was always trying to keep me protected, but she let the boys do everything.
Okay.
And so I was just like, I don't want to come over here. She don't like me. But that wasn't the case. She was trying to protect me because she experienced a lot as a little girl.
Got it.
And so, and I was the first girl in 3 generations in my family.
Wow.
On my father's side, I was the firstborn girl. I'm not married in. So with that, there was a lot of protection and spoiling of me. And back to my point, she said, because when people come in your home and you and your partner are arguing, or if people are getting sick and things like that, they would wash walls and they would sing gospel hymns and things like that. And it shifts the energy.
So she believed in all of that.
But they don't pass it down. And my mom's mother knew all about herbs and things and healing. And I'm like, how come I don't know this stuff? You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And so with that being said, the vibration, there's so much music going on inside of you and me right now. Our hearts are beating, our lungs, our kidneys, our digestive system, our eyes, there are nerves going off in our mind. We're having thoughts, ideas. And all of this music is playing within us. So sound is powerful. And there's a frequency to everything. With the right form of measurement, you can see your aura. You can see the colors about you. You can see the vibration. You ever been in a recording studio when you speak? The sound waves.
Physically see it.
People in the hospital, you see the rhythm of their heartbeat. This is just real.
Yeah.
We're water, and water responds to vibration.
Absolutely.
Plants respond to vibration. The test of the snowflakes and the test of the plants. If I tell this plant, I love you, you're beautiful, you're amazing, it's going to grow and flourish, giving the same conditions and the same nutrition as the one that's like, you're nothing. You're not going to make it. I don't believe in you. I hate, words like that are so powerful. So words are vibrational, and so is sound. And when I would spend time alone, I like to listen to harmonious things. You know, I like all the rap and all of that, but I've always liked harmonies. I've always liked flow. I've always liked classical, a piano. It just made me feel good. It made me feel different. And for Lydia and I feel like we love nature. A lot of people don't love nature, but they say they love the Creator. But God created nature. But a lot of people were more attached to what man made versus what God made. And I love being amongst the trees. I always have. I never knew I was a weird tree hugger. I just wanted to be barefoot in the grass and be outside. And so it spiraled from there, you know. And when she and I met, you know, we were stretching and breathing and talking about we need a community of women, and we had another partner. And it was just a beautiful experience to grow and share space with them. And then we got invited to do events. And Lydia has this beautiful voice, you know, and she inspires me in ways because I stopped singing years ago. I stopped writing, singing. I used to battle rap when I was in college.
You did?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, we meet in the student center, and you know, because if you can flow, you can flow. When God gives you ideas, if you can flow, you can flow.
Right.
And we had a rap group, me and a young lady, and
You're gonna have to.
we were like salt and we thought we was like salt and pepper, and you know, it was these beautiful experiences, and I stopped all that. I had invested so much money in making an EP, and I was like, I don't want to sing no more. I don't want this. I don't want that. You know, I had invested a lot in, you know, recording, and back then it was a lot of money. You know, thousands. Okay, you know, in my early 20s, this is a lot of money. I was supposed to have everything done. You know what was mastered? One song. Oh. And this was at a big recording studio. And I had signed with this label guy who didn't like me being cool with another artist. And so he had me on hold, you know, because I had signed, you know. And he was like, well, if you want out of this.
Wow.
And like I auditioned for like Making the Band. My mom took me to audition. Thank God I didn't make that. But hallelujah, when you do it. But I was auditioning and passionately pursuing, and it got to a point where I was always almost making it. Like I auditioned 23. I auditioned for the Laker Girls, final round, biggest audition I ever did in my life. And there was a gentleman there, and he was a ballet instructor. And I told him, this is why you can't tell everybody everything. I told him, I said, I just dance because I could dance, but I've never been classically trained. And so he had us doing like pirouettes and different things. He was calling them out, and I fell off. And then the lady was like, we love you, but you're gonna have to come back next year.
Wow.
And so I was like, man, I keep trying, and I keep almost. And I was just, you know, discouraged, and then fell in love and all of this and all of that, and just really stopped pouring into myself in the arts. But I always found peace in music. When I was frustrated, when nobody understood me, when I didn't feel comfortable to open up, I could hear a song. You know, when I got my heart broke, I could hear Toni Braxton. You know, there's another sad love song. Why did this angel break my heart? You know what I'm saying? Yes. Why didn't he catch my falling star? You know, just those. But there's a soundtrack to my life and in that pain. But when we begin to play together and we realize we're so different, Lydia and I, but there's purpose there. Yeah. And we love women. You know, for us, our events, it's not about, there have been events where we invested way more than what came back. But we want women to have that experience, you know, and our hearts are aligned. And some people come into your life just for a season. Some people, I realize that this is somebody that's gonna be in my life for the long haul, and I'm gonna love her. And I got her back, just like my real sister. Yeah. You know, you can't talk about her to me. Now, if we got a problem, let's get her on the phone. Let's get over here. Let's work it out. And I think those are the things that we need as women.
Yeah.
You know, I always wanted a big sister.
Me too.
I always wanted a big sister.
Me too.
And I find in this season in my life, I am a big sister. And so, and then as a big sister, that don't mean you always teaching them and pouring into them, because it's an exchange.
Right.
And yeah, I love it. And the Sisterly Collective, you know, we're always, we do some things. We haven't been as active. She's focused on her album and different things, but it's a sisterhood there. Mm-hmm. And I'm grateful because, like I said, I always wanted a big sister. Mm-hmm. And I look up to women, older women. I want to hear their wisdom. Mm-hmm. I want to hear their stories. I want to hear their hard way. I want to hear how they overcame. Mm-hmm. It inspires me.
Yeah.
And I feel like as we share more too with our younger sisters, it's giving them an opportunity to make better choices for themselves.
For sure.
Because it's like, had I known, I was in the hospital when I had my daughter. I was physically assaulted, and I was in the hospital, rushed to the hospital at 3.5 months pregnant. And they told me my baby was going to pass because my water had already broke. Yes. And so my daughter, I had her at 5.5 months pregnant. She was diagnosed with cerebral palsy, mental retardation. One part of her body is stiff, and she was blind. They said she was going to be blind. When we go to the eye doctor today, they're looking at her like, how does she see?
Wow.
And so I spent years, 3 years with her. You know, it wasn't daycare, anything. My life was, I had no car. All I had was my daughter. You know, mm-hmm. to feed her. She was on medications, oxygen. I had to take oxygen everywhere she went. She had to sleep on the apnea monitor because she would stop breathing. Now I look back in that season and I was numb. Mm-hmm. I wasn't able to really feel. And all in the midst of this, I was lost. I was just lost and numb. But a lot of these practices, because they said my daughter, she only was born with one kidney, and she may have needed a surgery. Mm-hmm. And they was like, as she gets bigger, and she was like, but you're small, and you guys are a match. So I went plant-based for 13 years. Wow. I fed her nutritious foods. I blended her foods. I didn't give her sugar. Mm-hmm. I watched her begin to heal, and then I had faith in God. You know, my dad had a global prayer network. I mean, thousands in Africa, all over the world that were praying for my daughter when she was in the hospital. But it was at that point that I saw my parents in a different light. I took my parents for granted for 29 years. And when I was in the hospital, my dad was there every day, mm-hmm. every morning. He's like, this is my baby. Aww. I'm gonna take care of this baby. He was like, God has, and then the doctor, and this is the first time I experienced extreme faith and sound. I'm getting there. I haven't forgot. But the doctor would say, she has this. I have documentation. And my dad was like, don't repeat that. Mm-hmm. And don't absorb that. And then when people ask you how you're doing, she getting better. Mm-hmm. And leave it alone. He was like, because, and my dad has this extreme faith. Like I love that. It's like they say faith that can move mountains. He's one of the only people I know, like in real life, that don't break and fold when he really, you know, is on something. He's like, no, God said this, it is what it is, and it's just gonna happen that way. And with my daughter, when she came home, our house had to be so clean. I had to take classes, you know, because we would have to revive her. Yeah. And I was ready to take her out the hospital. She had a feeding tube in her side and everything, because she was so underdeveloped. And I would play things, I would say things, I would sing to her, I would speak life over her. And this just wasn't me, this was my entire family. And I seen the power of God. I think I need a tissue. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. I seen the power of God move through her. And it was probably the loneliest time of my life. But sound, vibration, frequency, every time you open your mouth, the power to heal. And not just with your mouth, but what you feel in your heart. Because we're made in the image and likeness of the Creator. So when you read these stories, that's a part of you too.
Yeah.
And her story, Dakota's story. And in that season, I was broken and alone because her father is the one who assaulted me. He had disappeared for 3 days, came home. I'm like, where you been? La, 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 la. He got physical, pushed me, landed on my side, was rushed to the hospital. And he told me, this baby is gonna pass, can't make it. And I'm not even gonna say it's my faith because I was numb. I really honestly believe that her being here is just God's will.
For sure.
And sound helped me so much. Music, words. My dad is a man of great faith. And so even though we've had certain odds and some of the things that I was exploring in my youth, I mean, I went to Hong Kong because I don't know how to meditate. How do they sit still for so long? How do they, you know, they seem so together, you know? And my dad would wake up for majority of my life and just pray in his chair downstairs at 5 a.m. every morning for his family. And he told me, I'm about to cry, but he told us, he said, when I was a little boy, you know, his parents had divorced and he had 2 little brothers. And he said, I went outside and watched my neighbor tossing the ball with his dad. And he said, I always wanted that. And so I always felt special because he made us feel like his dream come true. And we're still close to this day. You know, we all see each other almost every day. You know, family dinner every Sunday. And that energy that he had to just pray. He prays every morning at 5 o'clock in his chair. And he calls out the name of his family every morning. And I just feel an honor because I'm like, I come from that. You know, he's shown me what it is. And even those words are vibration.
For sure.
And that covering, that speaking life. And so I could go into the scientific, this, that, and the other, but I've seen it in real life and in real time, and nothing else can convince me otherwise. That frequency, vibration, sound, voice, feel is not beyond powerful, and that we have ability to do great things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I've seen so many instances and situations like that in my own life. So thank you for sharing that. Oh my goodness, girl, you have me boo-hooing over here.
Yeah, I really want to share her story. I want to write her story. A part of me felt like she needed to be old enough to hear certain things because she's heard things about her father. I tried to tell her the good old days and, you know, his abilities, his good things about him, because that's where you come from. But I wasn't ready to release certain things because in her childhood, I don't want to shine this light or focus on this portion or this aspect. But what's crazy is when certain things begin to come out within herself, she was like, yeah, I kind of knew that. You know, she was like, I can see that.
Yeah.
You know, just from other instances and things she's heard. So I feel like it was a time. But I really do want to come up with her story. I really would love to make a film because just telling people from start to finish, they're like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, like that's crazy.
I feel like stories like that need to be shared. You know, people need to see just that you can overcome it.
And we overcome by the word of our testimony. So when you share your testimony, you're inspiring and you're sparking possibility in someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely see that happening. I know that I had always wanted to share my story. I always felt like I was being guided to journal, right, about some of the things that happened. And sometimes I did it, sometimes I didn't. But I had always had the name of my book. I knew I was going to write a book, and I knew what the name of the book was going to be. But I didn't know what to write. There would be so many times I would sit down, just blank page, and I wouldn't even know how to begin. And what's interesting was, I would say a month ago, I saw something on TV, and it reminded me of, everybody has that moment, that come to Jesus moment where you're like, nope, I can't, oh my God, sorry, I didn't clap. Nope, I cannot keep doing this, right? And I don't know why. I sat down at my computer and I started writing about that moment in particular.
Wow.
And I don't know if this has ever happened to you, if you've ever written anything. It literally felt like it was just pouring. I went from not being able to write one single page. It started just pouring out of me. And I mean in such detail, like what my thoughts were, like how I looked, what was happening. And it felt like minutes, but I realized I sat there for an entire hour and I never stopped.
No.
And by the time I was done, I had the outline for the entire book.
Yeah.
Based on my experiences.
Look, that's good. I'm excited to read this book.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
So I'm hearing you. I hope, if you feel called to do that, that you do, because I don't think.
Oh no, I know. I've known. This has been an instruction given to me for many years.
Yeah.
By, a lot of people that were there, that witnessed the journey. My parents in particular. Like, you have to get this out because it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal. So in due time, and I believe some of the details weren't ready to be released, Yeah. But yeah, it's time. It's time for us to break forth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I feel like a kindredness, with you, because we are mirrors. And reflections, of each other. And a lot of times, even though we haven't spoken in so long, you'll find that we're crossing certain bridges.
Yeah.
So that's beautiful. You know how guys, when they like you and they be all like, they get you something, usually like a necklace or bracelet or something, and you've been hanging out for a minute and they say, let's go together. Let's grow together.
Let's grow together.
Let's grow together.
Let's grow together.
You want to grow with me,
Yes,
boo? Okay,
of
I want
course.
to grow with you too.